All right, let's talk about a feeling that if you have ADHD, you probably know all too well. It's that intense, paralyzing state of overwhelm. It can be so hard to explain, but today we're going to dive in and take a look at what's really happening inside the brain's control panel. You know that feeling, right? Where you want to do something, heck, you need to do something, but your mind is just this buzzing chaos of thoughts, to-do lists, and random ideas all firing at the same time. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. This is pretty much ground zero for ADHD overwhelm. And let's be clear, this is way beyond just being a little stressed. We're talking about a feeling of being completely and totally stuck. The mental noise is so loud you can't latch on to a single thought. And the result? Often it's doing nothing at all, even when you're desperate to get moving. Okay, and this is maybe the most important thing to get. If this happens to you, it is not a character flaw, it is not laziness, it is not a lack of motivation, it is quite simply a fundamental difference in how your brain is wired. So to really get a handle on that wiring, let's use a metaphor for a bit. I want you to think of your brain's ability to manage tasks, its executive functions, as a kind of control panel. So check this out. In a typical brain, the control panel is pretty organized. It has a clear hierarchy. Some tasks are important, so those lights are brighter. Others can wait, so they're dimmer. You can turn the volume up on one thing and down on another. But now look at the ADHD control panel. It's a whole different ballgame. Every single button is flashing red, all at once. There are no dimmer switches, it's just on or off. And there's no volume knob. Everything is screaming at you at full blast. So what happens when every light is flashing and every alarm is blaring like that? Let's look at the real-world consequences of trying to operate this kind of control panel day in and day out. This brings us right to the heart of what ADHD overwhelm actually is. See, it's not just about having too much to do. It's a very specific state where the brain's prioritization system just breaks. It loses the ability to tell the difference between what's important and what's not. Everything feels like a five-alarm fire. And when everything's an emergency, you can't choose anything. The system just shorts out. And this is what that actually feels like. The signal in your brain telling you to finish that critical work project is firing with the exact same intensity as the one for, hey, you should probably drink a glass of water, or you really need to reply to that text from 2 weeks ago. Your brain is literally giving the same weight to a major deadline as it does to figuring out what's for dinner. So is it any wonder the whole system gets overloaded and just freezes? Now, let's zoom in a little and see how this chaos can derail even the simplest, most mundane task. Because this isn't just about big, scary projects. It can happen with anything. So picture this. You have one simple goal. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Easy, right? Well, you walk to the kitchen and beep, a new button lights up. The kettle looks grimy. Okay, then another one. Beep. Oh, right, I need to buy descaler. So you pull out your phone to add it to your shopping list, and the second you unlock it, whoosh, it's an avalanche of new flashing lights, emails, texts, notifications. And just like that, the original mission, the tea, it's completely gone, lost in the noise. So what's the outcome? You might be standing in the kitchen, an hour later, phone in your hand, with no tea. You feel drained, frustrated with yourself, and you haven't done the one tiny thing you set out to do. You've been paralyzed by a chain reaction of things that all felt equally urgent. Okay. So, if that's the problem, and the control panel is just wired this way, what on earth are you supposed to do about it? Well, this is where we pivot from just understanding the problem to figuring out how to actually navigate it. And here is a huge mental shift you have to make. The goal is not to fix the control panel. You can't just rewire it. Trust me, trying to force it to work like a typical one is a recipe for burnout and shame. The real goal is to accept the design and learn how to become a really skilled operator of your own unique system. And the master key to operating this panel, it's this simple but incredibly powerful idea. When every button is flashing and screaming for your attention, you have to consciously ignore the noise and find the one task with the absolute lowest barrier to entry. The answer is just one. That's it. Not a list of 3 easy things, not a multi-step plan, just one. The simple act of choosing just one thing is how you manually start to turn down the volume on everything else. So you look at that chaotic, flashing control panel in your mind, and instead of trying to tackle the biggest, loudest, most intimidating button, you deliberately hunt for the smallest, easiest one you can possibly press. Maybe it's putting one dish in the sink, or writing one single sentence of that email, or just opening the document. That's it. That's your victory. So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel that overwhelm creeping in and you see all those lights flashing in your mind, stop asking yourself, how am I supposed to do all of this? Instead, just ask this one question. Because finding and pressing that one small button, that isn't a sign of failure. It's the first and most powerful step to taking back control.